Hi everybody, it's Crystal. Welcome to my channel. So today I have a stitch tutorial for you. I'm going to be showing you how to crochet the walnut stitch. Now this is not a hard stitch. It may appear to be hard, but it's not hard at all. It's actually quite easy to do. And it's very, very pretty. Now this is what it looks like on the front. As you can see, super pretty. Yes, yes, yes. And here is the back. Pretty plain. It's a very, very, very thick stitch. A see-through level is almost non-existent. Now, the reason why it's so thick, because it is this primary, pretty much only made with front post double crochets and back post double crochets. And then it has this one drop stitch. Now you can do this. It's very easy. I'll show you how to do the drop stitch, and if you know how to do those post stitches, you got this. And look how cool it is. I mean, you can make all kinds of cool stuff with it. Now, I do want to mention that when you are working with post stitches, pretty much any time, they tend to flip. They'll do it. I mean, there's not really much you can do about it. That's just kind of what they do. So I left this side. I didn't do anything to this side. So this is probably what it's going to look like. It really depends on your tension and how much, they'll flip and whatnot. But they're going to flip on you. That's just the way it is. But I do tell you in the end how you can fix that. I went down the side here with a row of single crochet, and you can continue it all the way around, and up this side and then back up the top to clean up all them edges. I tell you how to do that, and then that will take care of that flippy edge. All right, looks good over here. Nice flippy over here. That's okay. That's okay. It can always be fixed. Remember that. It can always be fixed. Well, most of the time. So why don't we go ahead and get started on this? Remember, you got this. It might look a little intimidating, but you got it. It's not hard. I promise. I promise. You, as long as you know how to post stitch, you can post stitch. You got this. All right. So the yarn that I use for this project, I don't know what it is. It doesn't have a label on it, but it is a 4-weight acrylic yarn. I can tell. So you can use any yarn that you like, depending on what what you want to make with this. Be good for lots of things. I will say though, it is a yarn eater. I will not lie. But the good ones always are, aren't they? All right. And I also use, for this 4-weight yarn here, I used a J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. Of course, you use whatever yarn or whatever hook you want to correspond with the yarn that you chose for whatever project you're going to use the stitch for. Let's do this. All right, so this stitch is done in a multiple of 9 plus 1. And what that means that depending on what you're making with it, you chain your chain to the length that you want it to be in 9s, like 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, evenly divisible by 9. And then once you get it to the length that you want, you'll add one more to your base chain. So for my sample here, I have a chain of 46. All right. 45 is my multiple of 9, and then I added one more. So a total of 46 here for my swatch. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start row 1, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a double crochet in the 4th chain from our hook. So we never count the one that's on our hook, so we can count down 1, 2, 3, 4. In that 4th stitch, we're going to yarn over, excuse me, and do a double crochet. Now we always must remember when we do that double crochet and the 4th from the hook, this chain here on the end, he always counts as a stitch. All right, so never forget about him. He counts as a stitch. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move on. We're going to be putting 1 double crochet into every single stitch for the length of the chain. So row 1 is just 1 double in every stitch until you get to the end of your row. Alright, so I've made it to the end of row 1, and now we will start row 2 by working a chain of 2. So there's 1 and there's 2, and then we're going to turn our work. And now we're going to be working a front post double crochet. So we're not going to go into this very first one, and we're going to go into the next one. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to do a double crochet, but we're just going, instead of going into the top of the stitch, we're just going to go around the post of it like that, to where the post is on the front side, the front of our hook. That's why it's called a front post double crochet. And then we just yarn over and do our double crochet like normal. And we're going to be working a front post double crochet into every single stitch all the way across until we get to the end of our row. So it's very easy. So I'm going to continue working one front post double crochet into every stitch, and I'll meet back up with you at the last stitch of our row. Alright, so I'm coming to the end of row 2, and I have one stitch left here, this chain here on the end. We're going to do the post stitch around that too, so just take your hook and go around it and then do your double crochet, and that'll end row 2. Now with post stitches, they kind of get like curly and they'll curl up on you. That's okay, it's normal. Just give it a little stretch and stuff. Now we're going to start row 3, and we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and flip our work. Now we're going to be working a back post double crochet. So we're not going to do anything into this first stitch here. We're going to go to the next one, and we're going to yarn over, and we're going to do a back post double. So it's similar to the front post, except for we go behind the stitch like this and then back around the post. So the post is on the back side, so that's why it's called the back post. And then you go ahead and do your double crochet like normal, like that. And then we're going to work a back post double crochet around every stitch until we get to the end of the row. So this row is a back post double crochet row. And like I said, don't worry if it starts curling up and acting funny. That's what post stitches do. It wouldn't be post stitches if they didn't give you grief. So that's just, it's just in their nature. All right, so I'm going to continue doing a back post double crochet all the way across, and I'll meet up with you at the end of row 3. All right, I'm coming to the end of row 3, and I'm at my last stitch here, and I do want to do a back post double crochet around that last stitch there. So just go right around it, kind of like that, and that ends row 3. All right, row 4, we're going to chain 2, turn our work down, and now we're going to do front post double crochet again. So we're not going to go into this first one right here, but we will do this next one. So we're going to do the front post double into every stitch all the way down the row, one in every stitch until we get to the end. All right, so I'll meet back up with you at the end of row 4. Remember, we're just working one front post double crochet into every stitch. All right, I'm coming to the end of row 4, And then my last stitch here on the end, I'm going to do a front post. Stitch around that like that. And that's going to end row 4. Alright, now we're going to need to give it a stretch. It's fine. Now we're going to start row 5. We're going to chain 2 and we're going to turn our work. Alright, so now we are going to do similar, but different. We need to work, okay, this chain 2 is going to count as a stitch right here. And then we're going to work 7 more back post double crochets, and then counting this chain 2, we'll have a total of 8 stitches. Alright, so we're gonna do back post. So we're not gonna work this first one, we're gonna do it in the next one. So back post, double crochet. So counting that chain 2, that makes 2 stitches. And then this would be 3. And this would be 4. And 5. 6. 7. And that is 8. So it's 8 stitches counting that chain 2. All right. So count that chain 2 we did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now what we're going to do is an extended drop double crochet. All right. I know it sounds hard, but it's not. It's not hard. All right. So what we're going to do is follow this. Okay, here's our last stitch, and in between the last stitch that we just worked and the next stitch. All right, we're going to follow that down 4 rows, the space in between. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you look, you can see the space between. This is where we worked our last stitch. This is the next empty stitch, the space between. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to yarn over and go directly through that space. All right. And grab your yarn and pull up on it. And then take your yarn. You got 3 loops on your hook. And go through the first loop like that. Now you have 3 loops. And now you just do a double crochet like normal. So that was an extended double because you just went through that 1 loop 1 time. All right. So that is that. We're going to do that again. We need to do back post double crochet over the next 8 stitches, but we cannot go into the very next stitch. Since we did this extended drop double here in between these two, it's now a stitch, so we have to skip one to take so it can take its place. So this next stitch, if you flip your work right here, we're not going to work into that one, okay? We're going to go into the next one right here, and that's where we're going to start. So just slide him over. We're not doing nothing with him. And we're going to do back post doubles into the next, back post, into the next 8 stitches. So there's 1. I know it appears that you'll have a gap, but don't worry, it goes away. And there's 2. 3. 4. And 5. 6, 7, and then 8. And we're going to do the same thing again, our extended drop double. So if you take your work and you kind of pull it apart a bit, here's where we did our last stitch, and here is the next empty stitch, the space between those two. Follow it down, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can pretty much clearly see it if you look. It's just a direct drop down, and in that spot down there, we're going to yarn over and go right into the space. Grab our yarn and pull it up, and then we got 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and just go through 1 like that. So that's what makes it the extended double crochet. And then we just do a regular, just finish it out like a regular double crochet. All right. See that? Nice. So we're going to repeat that again. So remember, we're going to do the back post double over the next 8, but we got to leave this guy behind because he took his place. So just kind of slide him over because we're not gonna use him anymore. All right. So make sure you don't work into him, and we're going to start in this one right here, and we're going to back post double crochet again into the next 8. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, there's 8. Now we got to do our drop extended double. So you can pull your work apart there, and you can see where you need to go here. Here's our last stitch where we worked, and this would be the next stitch. We're going to work in the space between, drop down, 1, 2, 3, all the way down. We're going to yarn over and go into that space way down there, and grab our yarn and pull up. Got 3 loops on our hook. We're going to grab our yarn and go through 1 loop like that. That makes it the extended double, and then we just finish it out like a regular double crochet, just like that. Now we're going to repeat this, what we've been doing, until we get to near the end of the row. Well, I'm almost there. So remember, we flip it over and look. This guy here, we can't use him anymore. So he slides over, and we do 8 back post doubles into the next, minus that guy, because he's gone for good. So we're going to do 8 back posts in a row, back post double. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'll show you the drop extended again one more time. Pull your work apart. Here's where we just, our last stitch. Here's the next empty stitch, the space between. Go down 1, 2, 3, 4 into this space way down here. Yarn over and just go into that space. We go into that space. Sorry about that, I lost it. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So I'm going to yarn over, go directly into the space. Grab my yarn, pull up. 3 loops, you see them on my hook there. I'm going to yarn over and go through that first one, which makes it the extended Still got my 3 loops. Now I'm just going to finish it out like a regular double crochet. Just like that. That's how we do it. Alright. So if you pull this guy here, the one we always have to leave behind, you should have 8 stitches that remain. If you look here, so not counting that guy that we're going to leave behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the last stitch makes 8. We are going to finish it out by doing a back post double crochet into the remaining 8 stitches, and that will finish out row 5, I do believe is what that is. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that out. Remember to do one around your last stitch, and I'll see you at the end. Alright, so now we're going to start row 6. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, turn our work, and we are going to be working front post double crochets all the way across. So we don't count this first one here, but we do start into the next one, and we're going to work a front post double crochet into every single stitch until we make it to the end of our row. A lot of post stitches, huh? Nothing but posts. Alright, so I'm going to continue working front post double until I make it to the end of row 6, and I'll meet back up with you when I get there. Alright, when you get to the spot where the drop double was, and we skipped, remember we skipped this post stitch, I said, you know, we're not going to use him anymore. We're not going to use him anymore. So what we're going to do is, let me go into the one before that, is we're just going to abandon him and do a front post double around this drop stitch here from the previous row. So just go around that like that, and that's how that works. So that drop post double just took the place of him. He is no more, and I'm just going to continue working a front post double in every stitch. Remember, when you get to that drop post double again up here, you just don't do anything with the stitch that we skipped, and just front post double around that drop double like it's a regular stitch, and I'll meet back up with you when we make it to the end of the row. Alright, so I've made it to the end of row 6, and I make sure you front post double around that last stitch there. If you need to give your work a stretch, go right ahead. You'll probably have to do that quite often since we're just working with all post stitches. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start row 7. We are going to chain 2, and we're going to flip our work. Now we're going to work back post double crochets all the way across. So we don't count this first one here. Alright, it's taken. So this next one right here, we're going to do back post double around that. Whenever we're on the front side of our work, like right now, we work the back post doubles, and whenever we are on the back side of our work, we work the front post doubles. So I'm just going to continue across working a front post double crochet into every stitch until we make it to the end of the row. This is row 7. And I will meet back up with you at the end. Alright, so I've made it to the end of row 7. I did it around the last stitch too. So we're going to go ahead and start row 8. We're going to chain 2, turn our work. Can you guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna work some a row of front post double crochet. So we don't go into this first one, but we do start right here, and we're gonna work front post double crochet into every single stitch across until we get to the end of our row. Remember, back side is always front post. Front side, we're always working back post. Alright, I'll meet you at the end of row 8. Alright, so I've made it to the end of row 8. And we're going to go ahead and start row 9. So we are going to chain 2 and turn our work. So now we're going to work our extended drop doubles again, but this time we're going to work them like kind of, you know, catty cornered from each other. So we're going to start out, and we need to have 4 stitches in a row. So this chain 2 counts as 1, and we're going to be working back post doubles since we're on the front side of our work. So this would be number 1, and then we're going to back post double into the next. So that would be 2, and then the next one would be 3, and the next one would be 4. So counting that chain 2, we have 4 stitches there. And now we're going to do the extended drop double. So let's look where we're at. So here's the stitch that we just worked. Here's our next one. You want to drop down 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you'll always be in line with the drop double from the last time we did drop doubles. All right, so yarn over, go into that spot, draw up, yarn over and go to that first loop, and then yarn over and go and do a double crochet like normal. All right, now we're going to do 8 in a row, the back post double, but remember this guy back here, we can't use him anymore, so we slide him over and we start with the next one, and we're going to do 8 back. Sorry guy, I can't use you anymore. You're done with. 8 back post doubles in a row. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's 8. And again, we're going to do the extended drop double. So if you take a quick look here where you're at, here's the stitch that we just worked in. Here's the space next to it. We need to go down 4 spaces. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Remember, you always be in row with the extended double from before. So go ahead and yarn over and go into that space, and we draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 1 loop, and then we do our double crochet like normal, just like that. Now this is what we're going to repeat all the way across until we get to the last 4 stitches of our row. All right, so again, we would just, I always feel so bad, but we got to move him over because we can't use him anymore. And we would do our 8 back post doubles in a row, and then we would do our drop extended, and then 8 back posts in a row, and then our drop extended. And so we get to the last 4 stitches of our row. Your last stitch before your last 4 should be a drop extended double crochet. All right, and I'll meet back up with you when we make it to the end. Remember, you probably have to pull and stuff a little bit. It's just the way it is with post stitches. That's what it's starting to look like. All right, so I'm coming to the end of row 9, and I just did my drop double here, and you can see that I have 4 stitches that remain. Now we're not going to have 4 stitches on this end because we can't work into this guy. We can't. It will throw off our count. So we're going to move that over, and we're going to do our back post double crochet in the remaining 3. All right, and that's how we will end. Oh, back post, row 9. And now it's just a repeat of rows 2 through 9. So it is an 8-row repeat, but it is an easy repeat, you know. It's mostly just you know, it's mostly just rows of back post stitches and front post stitches. All right, so after this you would just do row 2 again. So we would do front posts all the way across. Row 3, we'd flip it and we do back post all the way across, and then we repeat row 4, we flip it, we do front post all the way across, and then row 5 we would repeat it and flip it, and it would be this row down. We the drop double row, it would be the whole ones on the end, not the half ones. All right, now go ahead and repeat rows 2, 3, and 4, and I'll meet back up with you when we repeat row 5 at this drop double row. I'm going to show you something to keep these in line. If you just do it the way that it is, they're going to be offset like every other row, which is fine, but I can show you something to keep them like more in line if you want it. It looks good either way, but that way you can, you know, you can decide. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat rows 2, 3, and 4. So the back post doubles, the front post double crochet row, the back post double crochet row, and then the front post double crochet row, and then I'll meet back up with you whenever we're going to repeat row 5, which is this first drop double row that we did. All right, I'll see you in a second. All right, so I went ahead and repeated rows 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 2 and turn my work in. I'm going to start where I would start repeating row 5, which would be this right here. I'm going to show you 2 ways you could do it here. All right, so first off, we do want to do, just like we did on row 5, we need to have 8 stitches in a row. So this chain 2 counts as our first one, remember? And then we do the back post doubles. So counting that chain 2, that's 1, 2. And then this would be 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So it's with that drop double. I can show you the difference, the different ways you can do it. All right, so if it's okay if your sides are flipping. They do that. We'll have to go around it with some single crochet or something to get them to lay flat. It's the post stitches. Nothing that you did wrong. All right, so for this drop double here, so normally we would go down. So here's where we just left off, and we would go down 4 spaces, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4, and right here is where we would do our drop double. Let me go ahead and do that so I can show you what it looks like. And you can do this if you want. It's not really a big deal, but now that's where it would be. Now, if you look, it's not quite even with that. Now, that's fine if it doesn't bother you. It kind of bothers me. I like things to be more consistent. So, you can remedy this very easily by... so I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't mind that, it'll just be off centered there. I do believe every other repeat it'll go back to the way it's supposed to be. But take that out. This is how you can fix it. You still do your 8 there, but instead of going into the space right next to the one that you did, here's the one that we skip normally. Remember the one that I said I felt sorry for because we never use him? Use the space after him and go down 4. All right, so we left here. Normally we would go down, or this is where we left off. Normally we would go down 4 from that one, and I showed you that it leaves you a little bit off-centered. If that don't bother you, that's fine. It won't bother a lot of people, but if you want to fix that, just this guy that we're gonna skip this guy anyways. Go to the one next to him and go down 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then do your drop double there. And then boom, you shall be centered. See that? Now you got 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side, 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side, and now your guy is already skipped. See him? He's already skipped because we skipped him on the opposite side this time. So we could line up our drop double with the one down below. I don't know why. That's not really normally how the stitch is done. It's normally done like I showed you the first time, off-centered, but I don't like it off-centered, so I don't do it that way. But it's fine if you want to. And then since we already skipped him, he's already been skipped, we would go directly to the next one and start again. So remember, we wouldn't skip this guy. If you do it this way. It doesn't matter. You do it any way you want. Sometimes I'm picky and weird about things being centered, so I'll try to fix them if they're off-centered. So we go ahead and do our 8 again. 1, 2, 3, and I'll show you one more time. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And again, normally the stitch would be, you would go from the one that you left off and drop down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but then you, as you can see, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches on this side and only 3 on this side. I can't take it. I can't take it. So I'm just going to not to use this space. This is the guy we skip. I'm going to go ahead and skip him now and use the space after him and go down 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, you'll always be in the same lane as your last one. And then I'm going to do it in that spot. And then all is good with the Bod's crochet. There we go. Now it's centered, and you've already skipped your guy. Alright, so you don't have to skip the next one. So you would just start again with the very next one, doing your back post double crochets. Remember, you do it any way you want. Like I said, technically being off-centered is the correct way, but I can't take that off-centered stuff very much. So it's an easy way to center it if you'd like, but you do it any way you want. Now and then again, now this is what you do. You just keep repeating whether you choose to do it this way or the other way. It does not matter. It's up to you. Like I said, I get a little bit weird about things being consistent and even. But you now keep repeating rows 2 through 9. And, every time you notice that if you want it to be centered, there'll be some times that it will be centered if when you're doing it the correct way. And if you notice that you're on a row that is not going to be centered, remember, just jump over to that one that you were going to skip and just skip him first and then go down, and then you'll be centered up. So, all right, just keep repeating 2 through 9. All right, here it is after some repeats. Looking good, looking good. But those sides, they don't look so good. Now I'm going to tell you how you can fix those real quick, though. Very easy. It can flip up, and stuff. So that's because of all the posts, like I said. So once you get it as big as you want it to be, we can just kind of even out the sides with some single crochet. So I'm just going to chain 1. Now you don't have to do this. That's just help you keep the sides down a little bit. Maybe yours ain't flipping as bad as mine. Mine's flipping pretty bad today, but it happens. I'm going to do my best to just kind of evenly space out single crochets down the side of my piece. And if you look, I'm kind of going in between the single crochet, or in between those chain spaces, like not like in the hole there, but through like 2 loops of it, splitting it kind of in half. Now this is like depending on what project you're making, like if this is needed or not. If you're making like a hot pad or something, you might want to do this to clean up the edges. But if you're making like, I don't know, so you can make anything you wanted, but say you're making a top or something, you might not need to do this if you're going to sew it together. Or a blanket, yeah, definitely, probably, especially if you want to put a nice clean edge on a blanket, you definitely would want to do this. But you just kind of evenly space out some single crochets down the side. And when I say evenly, you just kind of do the best you can. Just space them evenly all down your side. So I'm going to continue to do that until I make it down here to the bottom. Alright, as you can see, I went down the side here with a single crochet. So that helps it to lay better. And once you get in to the corner down here, if you want to kind of go around the whole thing, put 3 single crochets into the corner, into that one corner stitch, like that. And then you could go across the bottom as well if you wanted, just to clean it all up, depending on what you're making. So yeah, you just put single crochet evenly spaced down the sides, and then 1 single crochet in every stitch across the bottom and across the top. And then remember to work 3 single crochets in each of the corners. Now when you get to the top, depending on how bad yours is flipping, some will flip worse than others. Depends on the yarn too and how tight your tension is. If you feel like you want it to lay flat, then you go around. Go around again. Another row would do it for sure. But that's how you can straighten up that edge. That's it. I hope that you enjoyed my tutorial. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, alright? So you don't miss out on anything that I put on. I got hundreds and hundreds of tutorials. Please check those out. And I will see you guys on my next video, alright? Take care. Bye, guys.